Hey everybody, this is Captain Kyle. I'm at Thy Geekdom Con with J. Michael Tatum. Very talented man. You might know him from Black Butler, My Hero Academia, and so many more. We could spend an hour,
It's true, just going over titles. Yeah, it's crazy. I've been around for a very long time in this business. I've been over 400 properties at this point in my career, which is insane to think about, but here we are.
Well, we're not going to list them all, if that's okay.
No, God, no.
So how are you enjoying this con?
It's been wonderful. Everyone's just super chill and it's just fun. I love the atmosphere.
So, as you said, you've been in this business for a long time. How has the process of creating characters and auditioning changed through the years?
Largely, it's technical things that have changed over the years. Back when I started, we did things the old way. When we would dub a property, it would usually have already come out in its entirety in Japan 6 months to a year before it started to be dubbed. And so we kind of, as adaptive writers, as actors, we kind of were able to watch the whole show before we were kind of dipped our toe into it to adapt it. And now, they've, in the past, I guess, almost 10 years, maybe a little more, come to think of it, the simuldub and the broadcast dub schedule started. So everything is much quicker now, much quicker. The turnaround is insane. So it's kind of fun. I like the challenge of as an actor of going into the show and really not knowing what the whole story is going to be, because we kind of do it episode by episode as it comes to us. And so that's largely changed. But also, technically speaking, most actors now, especially with the pandemic and when at-home recording became the norm, we all had to kind of become our own engineers at home and learn really the technical side of it in a way that most of us hadn't had to before. So, yeah, that's really the major change. Now, most actors are also their own engineers. We engineer our own auditions from home. We often run sessions from home. We're beginning to go back into the studio, it seems more, but it's crazy how much I have a newfound respect for recording engineers and mixing engineers in a way that I've always loved them, but I didn't realize just how incredibly difficult their job was.
And now that you've learned this stuff, do you think that's made you a better voice actor now that you know more of the technical side?
I don't know that it's made me a better actor. It has certainly made me appreciate everything that goes into a performance other than just my acting. It's everything. Everyone contributes to it. The engineers, the director, the adaptive writer for the script, everyone is so much a part. Every performance you see, I think the actor is probably just the most forward-facing contributor to that end product, which I'm very lucky to be, and I adore it. But so much more goes into that process than just the actor acting. There's so much. And I think, it's certainly given me a newfound appreciation for all the other elements that go into it, aside from just my relatively modest, technically, contribution to just the actor acting.
Well, it definitely gives you new perspective. Absolutely. So you've also worked on video games. And you have to do a lot of grunting and groaning. Which do you find more challenging, matching the flaps to the voices or making all the weird noises that you need to make as a video game character?
Video games tend to be a little more taxing on the voice because there's a lot more shouting and because there's a lot more action generally in video games. There's also a lot more recording generally because there's so many. From a character standpoint, you're usually recording characters in a multi different versions of the same circumstances. So it's kind of interesting to get to kind of approach the character from multiple versions. But having the freedom, as we call it, prelay, to do it can be a little. That freedom can be a little disorienting at times. I'm like, oh, give me some flaps, give me some timing. It give me the rhythms, and the sounds I need. And so they both come with their own challenges. It's very hard when you're dubbing. So sometimes you're feeling a certain way. You want to say the line with this kind of, emotion behind it, but maybe that makes the line too long and it no longer fits the flaps. And so you've got to find a way to convey the same emotion, but to do so organically, but within very tight timing constraints, which is its own beast. But sometimes in absence of that, it feels like, oh, I have too much freedom and I'll go off script and do crazy things and they have to reel me in a little more because I'm like, too much. It's like, giving me the keys to the car. I shouldn't have them.
Now, you mentioned adaptive writing, and you've done a bit of that yourself. Are there things that you have to rewrite that just wouldn't fly to an English market? Have you had to make some real interesting adjustments to storylines and characters?
Not to storylines or characters, but certainly in how they may express themselves through language, because Japanese and English are such different languages. They developed in complete isolation from each other for centuries. And so they have a different, it's not just that there's not a one-to-one ratio between this is what this word always means in English and vice versa, but it's also figurative language is different. There's so many examples of the things that we take for granted, like calling someone a peach or a rose. That doesn't connote in Japan. They don't make that same association for whatever reason. Likewise, calling someone a radish is a very well understood trope in Japanese, where it's just kind of an insult to someone's acting. You call them a daikon, and it usually means what we would call a wooden actor or a ham actor. But calling someone a radish doesn't make that kind of sense here. So sometimes you have to make choices, because the idea is you want to emotionally involve the audience. That's certainly what the original animators are trying to do. And so as an adaptive writer, our philosophy is this. In so many words, it's like saying the subtitle version ought to kind of give you as concise a breakdown of what's actually being said in Japanese as possible. But if for example, the line is supposed to be funny, then the line in English should make you laugh. And if I have to over-explain the humor, if I have to qualify it too much, it gets you're suddenly using a different part of your brain to engage that line, and it's no longer hitting you in the feels. We want you to be hit in the feels. That's our job. So we frequently have to change things just because the way we use language from like English to Japanese. I mean, every language is different, but every native speakers use their language differently than other speakers of another language do. And you have to, like how we express our love or our anger, all those are very different culturally. And so in order to make it kind of hit here in English, we do have to make some adjustments. But surprisingly, so many things carry over. It's not like, the basic human emotions are universal. They just, however you dress them up or however you try to describe them, we can all relate. But yeah, so it's challenging, but I find it's great fun.
Awesome. Now, do I want to be a radish or do I not want to be a radish? I'm not sure.
I mean, you might want to be a radish. It depends.
Is that considered?
Sometimes it's fun to be a radish. You'd be overacting,
Now, have you received any advice from a mentor, another actor, that's kind of caused you a eureka moment in regards to your work or just life in general?
I've been given I've worked with so many wonderful, experienced colleagues over the years, and I think their lives and have meant their contributions to what we do has meant so much to me over the years. But I think the best piece of advice that really changed the game for me was my first director in this business was Christopher Bevins, dear friend of mine, who noticed me, new fledgling actor, not really knowing how to, work my way around a microphone and fit these things called flaps in anime. I had no idea what I was doing. I came from a stage background, and this was very different. And trying to make it work, I was terrified. And some things just weren't hitting. And he finally, as very wisely said to me, like, you're wasting too much energy trying to convince me that you're not nervous. Be nervous and just give it to the character and just say the lines through what you're feeling right now, and that'll give us somewhere to go. And I've learned ever since then to give myself permission to commit to whatever I feel, whatever I happen to be feeling in that moment, and that it will, in a weird way, it almost always works. Or if not, at least gives us somewhere a starting point where, like, I'm present enough that now we can tailor the performance toward what the director needs. I'm not wasting energy going, oh my God, I'm nervous and I can't show my nerves. I can't be afraid. Of course I can. Why not, So that really allowed, that piece of advice has helped me in my career more than just about anything else. And I've gotten some wonderful advice and tips and had the pleasure of getting to see a lot of great examples in this business. But that one has stuck with me the longest.
And it also sounds like it would apply to the rest of your life, too.
Very true. Very true. Yeah.
So are there any projects that you're working on currently that you can share with us?
Sadly, no. I'm working on some stuff, but, those NDAs, those pesky NDAs, so no, I can't talk about them. But I'm really excited. There's some really cool stuff coming out soon.
Well, we look forward to seeing it. Is there anything you'd like to say to your fans before we wrap up?
The same thing I always love to say to you guys. You're the reason we do what we do. So thank you. Thank you for supporting us and being so wonderful and generous with your time and coming up to us and just saying hi or just watching what we do and, telling us that it means something to you. That's really awesome. Without you, we're just weirdos in padded rooms making funny voices. So thank you for what you do.
And thank you for your time, and I'm going to go be a radish. Thanks, everyone out there, for watching, and we'll see you later, and as always, have fun, and follow your fandom.
This is Debbie Derryberry, and you're watching Fandom Spotlight. Be sure to like and subscribe. And remember, geniuses know you need to have fun and follow your fandom. Gotta blast!